Welcome back to Unleash Your Amazing Leadership. Today, my special guest is Roger Savy. Roger has built his career at the intersection of precision, performance, and people. He is the Executive Growth Strategist, Executive EVP of Strategic Growth, and widely known as the Ambassador of Optimism. His journey spans operating heart-lung machines and open heart surgery to being a combat leader in the South African infantry, and then stepping into executive leadership roles within global organizations. But what truly defines Roger's work is his ability to unlock people. Often called the Unshackler, he helps leaders and sales teams break through hesitation, step into clarity, and take decisive action while building trust, connection, and high performance cultures. But that's not all. Beyond all of that, Roger is a husband, a father, and a grandfather, bringing deeply human lens to what leadership really means. Welcome.
Oh, what a fabulous introduction. Thank you so much, Tammy. I was wondering, who is this person you're talking about? So thank you for being such an eloquent introduction. I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you.
Thank
So
you.
before we dive in, I just wanted to share something personal with our audience. Back in 2019, Roger and we don't think we had known each other very long. I think we met
Yeah,
in 2018
that's
um,
correct.
in the Certified Referral Trainer program. And we were having a conversation, and I was going through probably a dark night of the soul. I just felt like everything was chaotic and things just were coming at me from all different ways. And you said something to me. You called me a wounded healer, and I did not know what that was at the time. And this is right, like literally, I want to say it was probably 2 or 3 weeks before I discovered human design and my life like changed trajectories. And when we had our little catch up call the other day, Roger and I were talking, and he allowed me to look at his design. And he has this strength, which is about mutation. So I really feel like I felt it way back then, but for sure, after seeing your design, that you kind of mutated me. You helped me feel safe in the journey that I'd had and lean more into knowing that there was a purpose behind all the chaos that I was going through.
Hmm. I remember that so clearly, those conversations, and I could feel your pain. It was sensible.
Mm.
And you and I spoke and chatted, and it was just so heartwarming to watch the arc of your energy change as the weeks moved forward. And it so reminds me of what we all do in business, Tammy. It's people sense your energy before they even meet you. Right?
Mhm.
So when you are dealing with inspiration, culture, anything what it is, the it inculcating the energy before the strategy,
Mm.
and people sense that they are in the right place. So thank you for that story. I remember it very, very clearly. And the concept of energy and hearing people, making sure people feel heard,
Mm.
and then they want to stay.
Mhm.
Often they could go somewhere else for more money, but when they're surrounded by a team that gets them and they feel heard, boy, it all changes, right? It all
Yes.
changes. And I've stubbed my toe so many times in the arc of my career, and it always came back to because I wasn't very good at teamwork at one stage, or
Mm.
it was all about my ego, and I wasn't growth minded to hear what the other person was saying. So yeah, thank you for that story.
Yes, thank you. So when you see someone, do you actually can you actually see the pain and know what to say to unlock something in them? Does it like how do you feel it or see it?
Right. Well, I'm aware that I endeavor to meet people where they are in space and time,
Mhm.
and don't approach them immediately about work. I don't approach them about the usual left brain things. It's more about, pleased to meet you. Tell me, What are you looking forward to this year? What makes you happy? Uh, when you get home this evening and you open the door, who's happy to see you?
Mm.
Just those other questions. And then they suddenly realize this person is really interested in me. And I make sure that when I'm speaking to them, I maintain eye contact, what I call epoxy eyes. You make sure you have epoxy eyes. And if I get distracted, I then use sticky eyes. I let them know that I'm coming back to you. Give me a second. And I keep that glance just for a second longer before I move away. Those little things, those little things, let them know that this is not a one size fits all set of questions. I practice full body listening towards them. And every now and then I'll find a phrase which I find very interesting. And I'll say, hey, stop, please stop there. Tell me more about that. Oh, wow. Tell me how that made you feel when that happened. So people drop breadcrumbs, right?
Mm,
And
mm,
slowly you can pick up those breadcrumbs and going many levels deep. And then suddenly um, they open up when people suddenly feel you care. Once you do that, as I said once before, it takes me back to my favorite artist in the world who passed on, Leonard Cohen. There's a line in one of his songs that goes, there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And you won't
mm.
find that crack until you ask those human related questions. And sometimes you can see them gulp. Sometimes you can see mistiness in their eyes, and you can begin to feel where those pain points are. And it's a moment of I feel always very honored that people would let me in to their into their answers because of the quality of the questions. That trust starts when they believe that you're in the flow with them and that you're not treating them as a number. They're a real person.
Yes, I think that's so powerful. And it's almost like sometimes it's like hearing what's not said, right? It's like reading between the lines is a real thing. It's like there might be like a little hint, and when you say, "Oh, wait, that's it." You almost feel it in your own body like, "Ooh, that's it." Like tell me more about that there. And then they're like, "Oh, well, she is listening to me."
Yes. You know, you're so right about what's not said. And sometimes you can find out what's not being said by saying, I sense when you say this to me that there is something else here. And I'll
Mm,
be honored if you would let me know about that one day because your words and the, the words you use, the sentences that you are using sound really heartfelt. And I would love to get to know more about that one day. So that sets the boundary. I'm not demanding it of you now, but I'll be honored one day to hear more about it. And I discovered that this is the way you'd make people take ownership of their lives. And this could be at work, this could be a work colleague, because once people take ownership of a project and of themselves, things begin to change.
mm,
Loyalty kicks in, retention gets higher when they feel they have a personalized relationship with you, whether as your lead, being the leader and them, or whether they with a coaching as a coaching client, when they sense that you care and you're not just reading from a book, that it's not just some hypothetical, that it's them that's center. Yeah, big difference.
big difference. It's this ability to be a listener. Like sometimes when I have a client that maybe is struggling with that, I'm like, this is a reminder, we have one mouth and two ears. So
Yep,
we have to make
twice
sure
as much listening.
yeah, twice as much listening. Yes.
Yep.
Um, so you have had an extraordinary career, but who you are as a husband, father, and grandfather, like, tell me about that. Tell me what that has taught you about leadership.
There is so many angles to go down there, Tammy. So I'll pick one thread which I believe is important. I've learned to have end of day rituals.
Mm,
At the end of the day, I literally say out loud, one last call. because it's always nice to do one more, one last
Mhm.
call, and then it's home time. And I will make that last call, and anything that is particularly on my mind, I will write it down. Just
Mm-hmm.
write it down. So when I close the door is done, work is done. And when I get home, I'm present for home. Because in the old days, I'd get home and I was thinking about work. At work, I'm thinking, oh, I wasn't nice to my family. That confusion is just not helpful. It's just not helpful. And then I discovered that the bonds between my spouse and I got stronger when I came home and said, honey, I'm so pleased to be finished with my day. Tell me about yours.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll say, no, 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 you clearly were busy. Tell me about your day. I said, I'm done with my day. I want to hear about you. And I'll let my spouse talk. And then I'll hear something that is clearly important to her, what she said. And I'll stop her and say, honey, how did that make you feel when that happened? Just that conversation of saying, honey, how did that make you feel? Suddenly, the whole evening got better because I wasn't trying to fix anything, but I was hearing and I was worried about what she thought. And suddenly the meal was being cooked and we're chatting and share a little glass of wine. It's really important to leave work at work, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
something is bothering you, write it down and you can write next to it. I promise to come and worry about you later. Your brain has made a contract with that thing. It's same at night, having a piece of paper next to your bed instead of tossing and turning and saying to the wife, I can't sleep, sorry I'm bothering you. Turn on the light with that discipline. Write down the things saying you really irritate me, problem, but I'll get you in the morning. Done.
I love that. I talk to
Yeah.
people a lot about journaling before you go to bed, like
Yeah.
just brain dump. Don't judge yourself for what you're saying. But I like how you phrase that, where you're like, I will deal with you
I
tomorrow.
will deal with you later. Yeah,
Yes.
you're not going to occupy free rent in this space. It's home time for me. Yeah.
Yes. So, do you have any suggestions for people who work from home and they don't have that, leaving the office to come home, there's not as clean of a boundary?
Yeah. I know you know most of those answers, Tammy. So the ones that I will cherry pick is no matter whether you work from home or go to the office or at a WeWork space like this, decide in your planner, your week at a glance planner,
Hmm.
what time do you start work? Let's say it's 9 o'clock. And that should be a line drawn across the pages. 9 o'clock is when I start work. So, what has to happen before 9 o'clock? Intentionality to get yourself into peak state, drink a glass of water, stay away from the Pop Tarts, right? Move your body for at least 20 or 30 minutes because motion equals emotion. Move your body, move your mind, right? Say your affirmations out loud. I've got mine called the Declaration of Contribution. I say it out loud. It's behind the toilet door. And I say it out loud, speaking one third slower. Because when you speak one third slower, your brain gets to hear what's coming out of your mouth. You get your breathing under control. And then suddenly you take note of what's being said because now you're speaking one third slower. Speak in downswings at the end of every sentence so that you solidify it in your brain. That might sound crazy, but it is such a ritual for me in the morning to do that. And a realization that I wake up thinking, I'm the rainmaker. Somebody in my sphere needs my help. My job is to find it that day. It's going to be focused conversations. So when I get to the office or the WeWork or the little space in the back room that is your office, no matter what, you start at the same time every day. That starts to bring clarity in your life when there's consistency, right? Every single day, because we are our habits, right? Here's the important thing. You're at home. Now you put a sign on your door outside, working on our vacation,
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff for the kids. Kids, if you see me coming outside, say, Dad, I thought you were working on our trip to Disneyland. Have a little bit, make them be part of it, right? And you close your door. and say, I won't be coming out of here until X time. If you see me coming out before, let me know. Right? So there's those little strategies. I also do plan for 45-minute focus and 15 minutes of slacking out, just thinking nothing, walk around the block, come back, 45 minutes, 15 minutes off, 45. And if I may add one extra thing,
Mhm.
multitasking is a myth. Truly, it's a myth. There is no doubt that the more you do things at the same time, the more anxiety in your life, because at the end of the day, it's like a series of bell curves on top of each other. Which project did I begin? Which one did I finish? And there's no concrete stuff in your day. So multitasking, I've realized, and this is for anyone who's listening, if you are proud that you can multitask, it just means you are trying to work while being distracted. That's all it tells me.
Mm.
And multitasking means doing one thing at a time for a specific period of time. So at 10:30 to 11:30, I do this because it's in my planner. I wrote it down, and you only do what's in your planner. At 11:30, you stop and you go on to the next thing. When you do multiple things on the same time, that's called stacking or polyphasing. That's not true multitasking. So long-winded answer, start at the same time, get yourself into peak state before you start, and
Mm.
only do what's in your planner. Involve the family, that if you see me coming out before such and such a time, then I need to be derided and sent back to my office, right? Make them part of the solution.
I love that. And one of the things that you said about the affirmations and speaking one third slower. I want to say that listening to what we say, not just as the affirmations, but in general, there's so many times that I have said, just in general conversation. Like for example, when we bought this house, when I was walking through, I was like, okay, we're gonna need to replace the carpet. This is gonna need to happen. This, and then other people are like, oh, do you really need to do that right now? You could do it like this. And so other people, but what I said was my intuition speaking, right? And so easily in life, somebody else can say, oh, but you could just do this. And our minds, I'm a little more open up at the top in my design than you are. So I'm very susceptible to what other people, the decisions they might make. It's something that I've had to really learn to mm,
Mm.
be aware of, really. But also making sure that I'm listening to my own words. So I like how you tie that into affirmations, but I would
Yep.
just like amplify that just a little bit to say, always listen to what you're saying because
Always listen to what you're saying. Yep.
you are your own best expert. You are your own guru, and you know best most of the time, at least for yourself. Um, so other people can give us advice, but I think that learning to hear our own words is not something that I was taught, but is definitely something that I've learned is important for my own health, my own design.
Oh, you're so true. You're so true. And Tammy, I know that you've become an expert over the years at behavioral styles.
Mhm.
And in my parlance, I often encounter many people who are amiable, right? They
Mhm.
are very steady, very amiable, and they are so kind and such good listeners. And their biggest growth opportunity is to take a stand because
Mhm.
they get pushed around and told what to do by other people. So part of being a good, amiable, friendly, being kind is not to mistake kindness for weakness. Listen to
Mhm.
your voice and take a stand. That doesn't mean you have to go postal. It does mean that you say, thank you, I hear you, but I am going to trust my own gut and experiment with my thoughts on this. But thank you for the advice. The moment you say that, you gather a little bit more respect. People suddenly see you in a different light. And that's the growth opportunity I've realized.
Mm,
And for me, as an expressive, I've realized my greatest growth opportunity is to watch for the knee-jerk reactions. Just watch out for those knee-jerk. When you feel the emotion rise, step outside and
mm,
count to 10. Feel the breeze in your face. And when you come back inside and you start to speak again, what comes out is a little bit more thought through, a little bit more logical. And what's nice about that is now I've got no damage control to do because I had my emotions under control. And then people start saying, oh, I like the new Roger. He's growing up, right? The
mm.
world changes around you when you realize what your greatest growth opportunity is of your behavioral style. And I know that's one of your expertise subjects.
Yeah, I would even go further to say that sometimes we don't know the emotions we're feeling is something that we're feeling from somebody else, or not even our emotions. So then when you can step away, go outside, go to the restroom, wash your hands, shake
Hands, yeah,
off everybody else's energy, center yourself, and then you go back into that conversation as yourself, not as an amplified version of the person you're talking with.
yeah,
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 I like that reset.
yeah. And I've also noticed because I'm very sensitive to the energy in the room because
Mm,
um, I've realized that being a good leader is about building trust in the room, the energy you
mm,
bring to the room. It's about influence when they sense. And if you've got someone whose emotions are very touchy, they get very sensitive to things, the whole energy of the room goes to the level of the most sensitive person.
mm,
Everyone is feeling a little restrained because I know if I say this, this person's going to react. And this is part of the interaction I often have as a leader when you realize you've got people that are emotionally very touchy
mhm,
and they feel that lashing out or attacking is what they do on autopilot.
mm.
And you have to watch out for those people.
Yes. Yes. And I would say, so my daughter is emotionally defined, and sometimes, like, she's really good about if people aren't treating her right, like, she gives it a little bit of a time, and then she's going to be like, okay, this friendship isn't for me anymore. I mean, and she's 18 now, right? Like, how healthy is it to be like, okay, you're not treating me the way that I feel like I deserve, and it's not big things. It's like mutual communication. I ask you to do something one day, you ask me to do something, not me always initiating us getting together, things like that. And I think that sometimes emotionally defined people, although they might be more apt to say what they think in the moment, sometimes those things need to be said, where us undefined emotional people, we like a little bit more of like keeping the peace, and we have to learn
Good
that
observation. Yeah,
emotions are just information.
it's
They're
true.
not fact.
It sounds like your daughter at a very young age, though, has realized when she's going to draw a line in the sand where it's just one way and it's just not worth her time. It's time to just move on. I wish you well. I'm moving on, kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yep.
I sometimes I'm like jealous. Sometimes I'm like,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think that that's really healthy to be
Yeah.
like, okay, and she'll come back. They'll come back together sometimes later on. Those friendships will come back, but it comes back in a healthier fashion. And I think that
Yeah.
that's what can be really powerful about sharing how you're really feeling versus sometimes I might just stuff it down and be like, it's not really
You're
worth
so
talking
right.
about.
Being able to create those boundaries that you have, you earn more respect because you deserve it. Yep.
Yes, yes. So tell me about, how did you become the Unshackler, and what does it really mean to you to help somebody break free?
All right, and thank you. I discovered in the pharmaceutical industry,
Mhm.
we were great in science. We'd have a published paper that showed that 500 people who took the drug that I was peddling, they had, doctor, listen, when you take Zocor, there is going to be 20% less rehospitalizations, 30% less second heart attacks, 20% less. And we would tell all these facts to the doctor. The doctor go, yep, yep. Wow, it's fantastic. Great drug, great drug, great drug. And then you would monitor the prescription change, and there'd be very little change.
Mm.
And I struggled with that, and I was thinking, what am I missing here? Until I realized it was all fact that I was giving
Mm.
and not related emotion, what the story that it translates to. And I got my pharmaceutical reps to say things like, when you prescribe Zocor 20 milligrams, you're not going to get that call in the middle of the night, a wife screaming, her husband is no longer there, the kids are now bereft. When you prescribe this, this reduces real pain in real people's lives. Well, oh my goodness, they wrote it. They wrote prescriptions like aspirin for Zocor afterwards. So I realized when I was becoming an unshackler or a coach that I was able to take logical, sequential facts, because this is a left brain world. And if you can't measure it and you can't kick it and you can't paint it, therefore it doesn't exist. No, 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 no. There's a whole other realm of storytelling which is there. And
Mhm.
so you take those facts and you translate it into a relatable story for the person who's listening. And the whole energy changes. Production happens. You become more important in their lives. So being able to take fact in a left brain world
Mhm.
and wrap it in an emotional blanket, putting the emotion into promotion, you're the right person talking to the right recipient at the right time about the right product, and you wrap it all together. It's like a combination lock.
Mm.
1, 2, 3, 4. You can't go 4, 3. You've got to get the combination right
Yes.
and watch, and then it just opens. So a little bit more thought, because, and especially in today's world, in a unlimited content world now,
Mm.
it's just AI slop. It's just slop. He who can say it in the most, with the most brevity, with the most amount of emotion that hits its target, wins. Right? So I'm an unshackler because I'm used to taking nebulous concepts, crystallizing the lens, deliver the message effectively. What are the deliverables? What are the messages?
Mm. Yeah, and using your gift of storytelling to help people see it on a human level versus just the logic of like it's logical why you should use this medicine over something else, but people don't buy based on logic. Very few. Most people do
Emotion.
on
Yep.
emotion. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything that's really common that you see in leaders that holds them back that as far as like
Yeah.
needing to unshackle them?
Yeah. Yeah. They do leadership by sales meetings. That's what they
Mhm.
do. When
Mhm.
they want to get a message across to a particular person, they announce it to the sales meeting. It's like each and every one of you stop doing this when they were too scared to have the crucial conversation with the one involved. Right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Stepping up and having those uncomfortable conversations is very difficult. And most people choose avoidance. They withdraw. And all that happens is that the situation gets worse with the person. Their behavior continues. And before you know what, that rotten apple attitude begins to affect everyone around you.
Yeah.
Not good for production, not good for retention, not good for culture, not good for anything. And in fact, most people are looking at you as the leader saying, why aren't you fixing this? Why are you allowing us to be harassed by this bad behavior or this kind of style, right? So yes, what holds people back? Fear of having crucial conversations.
That going back to that emotional aspect.
Yep, fear of that. And the second one is getting to know people on a personal level before you start telling them what to do. Don't have position power. Because I'm the boss, you will listen. You're going to get nowhere. You're going to get nowhere. So I've realized there's 5 levels. I think it was John Maxwell that comes up with these. There's position, where I'm the boss, you will listen. Then there's permission. When people realize that you care, they give you permission to tell them what to do. Then there's production, where people start coming in a little early, staying a little later. They take ownership of things. That's called production. That's really happening. And then it's people development, where you spend your time developing people to take your spot one day. That if you would stay home for 3 or 4 days, people would just get on with it, right? And then the top level is pinnacle, where you as a leader are looking down the pike, keeping your whole company out of trouble. So position, permission, production, people development, pinnacle. Most managers never get past permission.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, and it's probably a lack of awareness is what I notice typically why leaders don't do be do better in their
Yeah,
leadership. It's a lack of awareness or maybe lack of training.
there is no doubt lack of training. And if you spend more time getting to know your people and giving them a mountain to climb rather than watching them be on a treadmill every day, there's a difference, right?
Mm-hmm.
When they've got a personal mountain to climb, not just a treadmill, when you recognize them constantly, when people want recognition, if you treat them all one size fits all, you just stay at position and permission level, right?
Mm.
And each position builds upon the other. The position that runs into permission, then into production, it becomes just a base of things that you do for people. And I teach that course for leaders, how to go up the various rungs. And again, 80-20 principle. People will do very well as a student, but to actually have the emotional maturity to implement it is a different story.
Yeah, emotional intelligence is really a soft skill to develop because it makes you more coachable. It makes you a better listener.
Right, right.
So many things that can be done just in that little area of emotions, not being so scared of emotions.
And you used just the right phrase there, and I forgot it. So thank you for plussing me. Those soft skills that get so ignored in a left brain society, you know, emotions, feelings, relationships, collaboration, teamwork, all those kinds of things, which leads me to another point.
Mhm.
Teamwork is almost antithetical to the American way of life. And I'll tell you why. Because our Asian colleagues do teamwork way better than us. Or we
Mhm.
have to, there's a lot we could learn. We're taught in this country, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You don't need anything. Be into it. What's yours, work for you. So that sense of growth, personal growth, and taking accountability is what we've learned to do largely. To share it, to be selfless, to
Mm.
work as a team, to leave your ego at the door, to realize that if you learn something, then the team learns something, right? To be mindful of other people, to call upon their strengths, to stop trying to do it all. Very, very difficult, certainly for leaders. And it really, it's not a measure of your intelligence. It's just nobody becomes super famous and successful, certainly in lending and real estate, without being part of a team and growing. You can't do it all as a lone wolf. You can't do it.
No, no. Yeah, teamwork is important and appreciating your team, asking for feedback. All.
Absolutely right.
So when someone is in chaos or uncertainty, how do you guide them without rushing the process?
Sitting down and interviewing them
Mhm.
about because some people don't even realize they're in chaos. They just think they're very busy and they mistake busyness for productivity.
Mm.
And you can spot it a mile away because they're always feeling harassed. And some people, they always seem to be on vacation. They always seem to be enjoying themselves and successfully completing projects, successfully handing in contracts, signed around transactions. Some people are just superbly productive and filled with results, and others are running around, head cut off. And sitting down and having a meaningful discussion with that chaotic person, scheduling time in their planner and see if they even show up to your meeting on time,
Mhm.
right? Often helps. And then realizing, let's look at your planner together. But number one, where would you like to be in 3, 4 months? Tell me what success would look for you in 3, 4 months. Find out what's their attitude towards success. And then say, right, in order to get there, would you mind if you and I worked together on how we could get you to that spot? Always permission marketing.
Mhm.
And I've discovered if I can have a look at their planner is a mirror of their life. It's a
Mhm.
mirror. And if I open their planner and there's nothing there but one appointment there, the rest is just tumbleweed. Nothing there. I've realized they are um, they are just stumbling and falling behind further and further and further. And so as we build their schedule, and I'm not going to give them a, a system right off the bat, I'm going to add 1 or 2 little things every week to them,
Mhm.
realizing it's 1 degree tweaks. Otherwise, it's going to overwhelm them. And slowly but surely, with accountability, I'm going to check in on them. And then at 1 month in, I'm going to assign your street sign colors. Tell me in your planner here, which activities would you give a green light to? Which one leads directly to money?
Mm.
And make them point to it. Which one is an amber light, which might be a waste of time or might lead to money in the long run? It's a project. They carefully, this would be an amber. Right. Which one is just busy work? That's a red light, that you're falling back into the old trap. So using street lights, I can get them into, because there's a certain amount of labor revenue exchange. For the labor you put in, you get money back.
Mhm.
Let's make sure the labor is going into the greens and the yellows rather than into the red.
Mm.
Slowly they begin to see the logic. So I don't tell them what to do. I fashion their brain to go down the right direction and treating them with respect. Tammy, sometimes the results have been amazing if you approach it correctly. Because as a society, we love to call ourselves busy. We love it. It justifies us, but it often going nowhere.
Yeah, I'm really trying to be very conscious of not using the B word, busy.
Busy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Sometimes it comes out and I'm like, oh no, didn't mean I'm productive or I'm something else because you're right. It's not we could be doing things all day long, but if you're not focused on the right things, then you're not really going anywhere.
Exactly right.
So I like
Exactly
that
right.
stoplight. It really I can envision like you're in your car and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
are you
That's right.
are
You
you
got it.
you're
You
not
make it
running
something
red
relatable.
lights. So,
Yeah.
hopefully.
You you make it relatable. Um, for those who are a little bit more who've read some books, I'll use Stephen Covey's quadrants, where how much of your activities in this strength of a standard week shows that these projects that you're working on are important, but not yet urgent.
Mm.
Because we seem to be doing things every week that are urgent and important, always putting out fires, setting aside no time to plan. When you can show me projects that you're working on that are not yet urgent, but important, I know you've turned a corner.
Mm.
I know you're heading in the right direction. And so, yeah, I see the lights come on, those aha moments, but just walking up to them and waggling your finger doesn't work. They'll be gone and you'll be frustrated. And it's very expensive to find new people.
It is very expensive to find new people. Hmm.
Hmm.
How do you distinguish between pressure that leads to breakthroughs and pressure that leads to burnout?
Yeah. Working harder, just people working harder, I've noticed leads to burnout.
Hmm.
And sitting and having a quarterly review or a quarterly discussion and asking people, what frustrates you? What's a pain point? How could I relieve that pain point for you? Tell me why it's a pain point for you. I can often intervene and realize they're doing too much or not delegating it or doing work that I've employed someone else in the organization to do. Exactly right. So I endeavor to remove things from the plate and
Mm-hmm.
ask permission. Could we have this conversation in a quarter? Because you're too important to me. When I see you leave with a fluster on your face, I'm not doing my job properly because I want this to be the last job that you ever do is here. I want you here 20 years from now. What can I take off your plate? And people are rather surprised because they expect the manager to say, your performance is not up to scratch. What are you going to do about it? That's not helpful. Or when you talk to people and do a performance evaluation, you know, Tammy, you do this well, this well, this well, but and people go, here it goes. Instead of coming out and telling me a long time ago what I should have done differently, you're going to ambush me now in the meeting and tell me, but you don't do this very well. Don't ambush me, right? So these are little things. So in these evaluation meetings, I go out of my way to say, Tammy, the reason I appreciate you so much is the following, and spend an enormous amount of time. However, not but, however, this little thing here, please could we work on it together? Because this is a little opportunity we can get rid of this part. But now that I've told that to you, can we go back to those things that you do so well? Because I'm so impressed. So the but or the however portion is minimized, not the whole focus of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
So spending time with people, finding out what they're doing that I could help them with, and then making sure in the evaluation, I spend a lot of time telling them why I appreciate them and
Mm.
wanting them to do more of that. Please do more of this. This makes such an impact on the company. You watch people glow and ownership. When they take ownership and they become a champion of that, everything changes.
Mm. Yeah, people like to be appreciated for the things that they are doing well because sometimes, especially in sales, it's not like I mean, sales could be a very challenging job. It's only very easy for a very small group of people. Most of us, we really have to be very intentional about it. And to hear the things that we're just doing wrong can be very defeating.
Yes, yes. And sales is such a lonely job sometimes.
Mm.
And then you make you feel defeated. So a good leader encourages you to come to the office more often. A good leader says, come along, have conversations with us. Because when you have conversations, you hear what other people are doing. Your energy changes. You
Mhm.
might pair up with somebody. And certainly, I know in title, escrow, pharmaceuticals, lending, real estate, we feed off each other's energy. And as a leader, if we can encourage them and give recognition, chastise in private, praise in public, right?
Yes.
And always acknowledge what people are saying and doing and let everyone hear that you're so proud of this person and why you're so proud of them. And if you focus on each and every one of them, but make sure there's a scoreboard somewhere. The scoreboard's important because as soon as the scoreboard is there, office politics goes away. Office
Mm.
politics is minimized when you love on everyone, care about everyone, feel the energy, but there's still a scoreboard. People want to be recognized as close to the top of the scoreboard as possible. And then those that require help tend to come alongside and say, I really need some help with this. It makes my heart happy when people ask for help. It really does. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I don't get this. Can you help me? Like those, that is so powerful, but a lot of
Yep.
times we're scared to ask for help, unless there's a leader that is really very open and welcoming. Like, hey, there's no bad questions. Just come ask. You need help. I'm here to support you.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. And have you noticed some leaders, though? I've always got an open door policy, they say, but they never come out of that office, and you always feel like you're bothering them, right?
Mm,
So to make that transition, to make that I have an open door policy means something. Practice something that Tom Peters taught in his books In Pursuit of Excellence many, many years ago. That acronym MBWA, management by walking around. Get out
mm,
of your office and go and sit in their office. Say, Tammy, we don't talk enough. Please, what's going on in your world? How's the family doing? And don't make it about work.
mhm,
Just go and find out about them, right? Just go find out about them. And if you're really smart, there's lots of really great apps today that you can just have on and recording the conversation, and it captures all the things they said, and you can put it in a little file
mm,
and say, I'm going to go and see Tammy. What's the last conversation we had? And then go, hey, Tammy, the last time we spoke, Hunter was getting into that university. What happened there?
mm.
You watch people, oh, you remembered, oh, that's nice. Suddenly that whole relationship changes. And those people will stay with you. People don't leave companies, they leave leaders. They
Mm.
leave managers. They'll suddenly $5 more an hour will take them somewhere else because they don't feel they have a leader in their life.
Yes. Yes. I've left many a companies because of the
Yeah,
leader.
yeah, yeah.
For sure. Mhm. No
They
other
set it
reason.
up, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse that when there's you're all in the office together and the leader comes in and everything goes shuts down because the leader is touchy. The leader looks like they're in a bad mood. Who who wants to do that? Work for someone like that?
Nobody.
I even talk about that for myself. In my last company, I made a conscious decision to move to another company
Mhm.
that was more in line with my values because as a coach, I'm very aware of the energy. I'm very aware suddenly that when you're not included in the leadership meeting because, oh, I didn't think it would be important. So you're not clued in as to what's going on. The reports never quite get back to you. Your
Mm,
ideas show up dressed up as someone else's ideas. You
mm.
suddenly realize, I am intimidating or I'm a threat. And to a manager who sees me as a threat, I'm in the wrong place.
Yes. Yes. And I think that there's probably more of that out there than we realize.
Yep.
And I want to go back to saying a lot of that is emotional intelligence. So
Yes.
it's a soft skill that can be developed. So if leaders are feeling that way or if they're behaving that way, there's solutions. You just need to get additional help in understanding your emotions, and then you can understand your people a little bit.
Absolutely right. Yep. Absolutely right. Yeah.
So what does unleash your amazing leadership mean to you?
It means I don't wait to be inspired or motivated. I
Mm,
create inspiration and motivation. I walk in, and it's a conscious effort that when I walk in this room, as I walk through the archway of the door, my shoulders go back. I walk in and I have a pleasant look on my face. And when I see the particular person that I'm staring at, the pleasant look on my face then goes to a smile. The
mm.
smile is for the individual. The pleasant look on the face is for the room. Right? And I walk up to that person and start that conversation. So unleash your amazing means everyone is important,
Mm.
everyone is special, and create the energy in the room because that's beyond sales, that's influence.
Yes, I love that. That's really cool. Yes. So thank you. Thank you for sharing all your time with me today. If somebody wanted to connect with you, how could they find you?
Oh, first of all, I'm going to give you my cell phone number just right here. My dialing code is 206-372-3859. I'm pretty responsive to my cell phone, and if you leave me a message, I set aside a time in my day to return my calls. So there's that. Also, if you uh, if you go online and you look for elevated lending between two escrows, you will see my YouTube channel and
Mm,
the conversations that I have. It's geared towards salespeople, it's geared towards leaders, it's chock filled with nuggets. Please go in there, comment. I will reach back out to you. I appreciate you. I'm very, um, I, re- I respond to people's energy, their comments. I don't just leave you hanging there.
I love that. That's very important to build community offline and
Yep.
online.
Yep. I
Well,
agree.
awesome.
And Tammy, as always, thank you for your energy. Your energy precedes you, and you make each person feel very special. And I felt special today. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. And I always
Thank you, Tammy.
enjoy our conversations for sure. It came up on my memories the last time that we did, when I was doing live show years ago and you were on, and it was this month. I was like, oh, that's it's been like 6, 7 years. So I was like, oh,
It
wow,
has
that's
been.
been too long, too long.
Yeah. And I went through about a period about 3 or 4 years where I felt overwhelmed and saying yes to too many things.
Mhm.
And so I pared down my life, got it organized again so that I can come across as cogent to powerful people like yourself. So
Mm,
thank you. You're part of my journey too.
thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tammy.